Kim, so good to see you. We're going to talk about the number one most important factor determining your retirement success. It is income. Let's dive in. According to a study by the Alliance for Lifetime Income, 80% of retirees with protected income say that they are confident they won't outlive their money, compared to 33% without it. So I notice the answer here is income. Why isn't the answer how big your nest egg is?
Yes, this is one of the biggest misconceptions I would say out there. There's tons of
Yeah.
studies that spot off you need $1, $2, $3 million to be able to retire comfortably. But cash flow is king. Just think about it when you're working. How are you making your ends meet? How are you paying your bill? It's through that paycheck. In retirement, we still need that paycheck coming in to accommodate for all the things that we're spending on. So it all really does boil down to the income, more importantly than a nest egg number that you have.
Yeah, and you just touched on this, but we've essentially always had an income plan. What's different in retirement?
The difference in retirement is generally that you have to create this income plan, right?
Yeah.
For most folks, they were reliant on that paycheck, but in retirement, very few people have pensions out there. Most of us are going to have Social Security benefits, so that's something that we can rely on. But then we like to say that in today's world, you kind of live in a yo-yo society. You're on your own is what that stands for, meaning that you have to take those investments that you've saved up over the course of time and now turn them into something you can utilize monthly to meet those ongoing obligations.
I've never heard of that. I am definitely going to borrow that, though. That's awesome. Nearly 70% of pre-retirees say that their biggest concern is generating enough reliable income to last a lifetime. Can you rely just on your investments to get you to and through retirement?
What we always say is that if you're relying solely on investments, those that are tied to stock market, bond market, you're going to be subject to the outcome that those instruments give you, right? So if you're relying solely on those investments, that can elevate the risks as far as how reliable that is for you long term. There's lots of other investment choices, or I should say tools to utilize to help solidify someone's income plan. But if you're 100% in the stock market, that's a wild ride that I probably wouldn't want to ride if I was reliant on that money for income in retirement.
Right. And let's talk a little bit more about that. If you are relying on just your invested money for income, you are opening yourself up to a very specific risk called sequence risk. Can you explain that?
Yes, sequence risk. And if you haven't heard it, you can Google it. There's a ton of studies online that cover this. But essentially, what that means is that big losses in retirement, when you're starting retirement, right before retirement, and right after retirement, can increase the risk of running out of money, not immediately, but when you're talking about 15, 20, 30 years down the road. So if you're too overweighted in the market that has the ability to lose these huge numbers, then if that happens to you at the wrong time, then it can increase the risk of running out of money down the road.
And how often should we be revisiting our income plan?
For us and our clients, we're reviewing this every time a client comes in for a review. That's one of the things we always refer back to, see how things are going. I would say at a minimum, it should be done annually. Of course, whenever there is a life event that happens, then you might want to review it a little bit more than annually. But that is something that we say is always a moving target. You're always making fine-tune adjustments to make sure that that income plan is solid for you going forward.
Yeah, solid and sustainable. Kim, if somebody would like the peace of mind that comes with that, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way is to reach out to us via phone or text. Our number is 614-430-8383. And a lot of times what we will do is set up just an initial 15-minute chat with you so we can learn about what you need, if you have any questions, and then take it from there.
Great. Kim, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.